Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live today. My name is Alyssa and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Kitomba. And today I'm so pleased to be here with Philippa Middleton, who is one of our previous Kitomba customers and who has 25 years of experience in our industry and 22 in business. Hey Philippa, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks Alyssa. Thanks for having me back. And yeah, so welcome everybody. Be surprised to see who's actually live today, because hopefully you're all working hard on your businesses and in your business, and you'll have to watch the pre-recorded version of this, but those that are here, welcome.
Yeah, awesome. No, thank you so much for being back. I know we spoke a couple of weeks ago about doing this session, and we were reminiscing about the last time we chatted, which was in the midst of lockdown with, regrowth and no nails, and everyone was drinking too much and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really nice to have you back again.
The good old days, as they say, with the awful old COVID days. Yeah, I did a bit of a vlog weekly on get back to your roots and went a la natural on everything. And so thank goodness I don't look as rough as I did back on the first time we did this back in COVID lockdown last year.
You still looked amazing. You just look like a more amazing version of yourself today because you're all done up.
Oh, thank you. You have to say that I'm the guest.
No.
And one of the funny things I'd like to add, I have been involved in this industry for over 25 years, and I did start when I was 2 years old, just in case anyone's wondering.
Of course, obviously, yes. So yeah, we're all 21, aren't we?
True, for everyone.
Cool. Awesome. So before we kind of get into today's topic, I thought it'd be really cool. I mean, yeah, like I said, it was a year ago when we last spoke. So maybe you could just take us through a little bit about kind of your journey in the industry, your journey since you were 2 years old, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your businesses.
Well, okay. So I've been in the industry, as we've been talking about, since I was not quite 2. That's an exaggeration. A little bit older than 21, thank you. But basically, I'm an accidental business owner in some respects in the industry. I'm not a hairdresser or a beauty therapist. I had a bit of a rough start to life and came from a family that went through a severe bankruptcy crisis. My dad was a boom and bust person. Basically what that means is he was the most clever and most amazing and stupidest person all wrapped together in one little package. So Dad, whatever Dad did, he did, and he was amazing at, and then he'd go about destroying it. So at the tender age of 15, we went through, we lost everything, and then everybody disbanded and basically said, oh, you'll be all right, and off they went. So I wasn't doing very well in school at the time, as you would imagine, and I was a little naughty apparently. Completely due to circumstances. So I got asked to move on from my education. So been on my own since I was 15, and my education ended there. So no privilege and no university background. I went to the full University of Life and the full University of Hard Knocks. So I went about discovering how not to ever go into business, because I'd seen what business did to my family and how it destroyed it, and my impressions of that was that's what it was. So clawed my way through, ended up finally, after lots of determination, strength, and quite a lot of guts, I ended up doing quite well and naturally a good sales negotiating type of person. So worked in the industry for Schwarzkopf for quite a number of years and introduced all sorts of crazy things there. One of the things I did was I launched permanent hair colour into supermarkets. So, yeah, my fault. Help me buy a lot of commission. Don't worry, I paid the price for many years after that, owning salons. So then I was headhunted by a large radio station in New Zealand to go on their executive board. And this is what I'd always wanted, to be climb that success ladder and work for someone else and never go into business. So I was going to be managing the sales team, their morning crew, and selling them. I was 26, 27 years old, and the world was my oyster. And I arrived there thinking I was all that in a bag of chips, and the culture was disgusting.
Oh,
I've
no.
never been in such a cesspit of dog eat dog, get you, take whatever they can. My office wasn't ready, so they sat me under a pot plant for a week. Somebody asked me, they go, "Oh, why are you here?" No one introduced me, no one took me around. I basically all my way into that role. All my staff were older than me. I was younger than all of them. And they were like, basically not even wanting a bar of me. And I was brought on to be the only female executive in the team, the youngest executive. Plus, they wanted me to change and influence culture, because that's what I told them was important at the interview. So I quickly found out that culture was actually really, really important to me.
Yep.
And I didn't like what I was seeing. My first project for this large radio station, names aren't mentioned,
Of course.
was to arrange a conference for small to medium-sized businesses to attend. And we flew in these high-level consultants from the US, and we basically learnt a process from them and then delivered it with them to hundreds of businesses across the country. And it was solution selling. So basically, in a nutshell, it was diagnose problems and opportunities in people's business and fix it with radio advertising. Yeah, it worked. Anyway.
Genius.
Yeah, so I sat in the front row listening to these whiz-bang consultants from the US talking to all these amazing business people from all around the place. And I looked around the room and I thought, I don't like the culture. I don't like what's going on here. Why don't I do what all these people behind me are doing and start my business? So in the front row of my new job, with all the customers and staff behind me, I wrote my first business plan. And at the top of the page, I put, I want to be in charge of my own culture and I want to be in charge of my own destiny. So that gave me the gas, the courage, and the momentum, and I started my first business. I couldn't think of what to do other than what I'd come from, which was helping salons and through Schwarzkopf. And as a female that, needs a few things doing, I thought, well, what do I need? I need a one-stop shop. So I opened the first one-stop shop, and it ended up being immensely successful, and I sold it. And so I've done a startup, done a business rescue, had two other businesses which aren't industry related to this industry. But through the whole journey, the biggest thing that I discovered is, and many times people have asked me, why are your businesses so successful? What's your difference? How are you doing this? And literally, it comes down to a lot of things lining up and coming right. But the main core thing is, and why I'm here today to talk to you, is culture.
Yeah.
Culture, as I said in my little byline to the advert for this online seminar today, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Don't get me wrong, you need a really strong strategy. You need budgets. You need all of those things. But without culture, they will all eventually let you down or fall apart. And that's the core crust of it, really.
Cool. Awesome. What a journey, Philippa. I think we've covered some of that, but definitely not all of it. And I just think that's, amazing and so cool and hilarious.
I've left out some of the bad bits. And hey, we all have that. Everyone has a story. But I think one of the most important things I learned, and my driver for going into business in the first place, was culture. And that has actually led me to the successes that I've managed to have in everything I've done, because my people that work with me, they're the number one thing. The customer isn't number one. Although, I always had a saying when I speak to the staff that work with me in the past and things like that, I say, the customer isn't always right, but sometimes we have to actually make out that they are.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, and unluckily for me, I can't fix this industry by doing the work myself. Because if you came to me to have your hair done, I swear you'd never come back. I'm not really around anybody with anything sharper than a pencil. But I have to inspire, encourage people to do amazing things to other people all day, every day. And one of the biggest things I always said to my staff on that journey was, nobody gets paid enough to be treated badly by anybody. So customers, clients, I mean, we have so many different names for them these days. They have bad days and things are going on in their life, and sometimes, like staff, they can act a little bit yucky. Some of them can act very yucky, and no one needs to deal with that. So I always empowered my people to say, hey, I don't need to take this, or walk away, and my door was always open. Come and get me and I'll go and talk to them, because they need to know that they are the number one person in your business. And that's where, if we're talking salon and spas, which I think is the main crux of who the listeners and future listeners of this chat will be, most people in this industry got into this industry because they were good at what they do. You actually, if you want people to work for you, then you've got to actually be good at inspiring people, not the clients, because you're already good at that. That's why you started your business. So if you're an on the tools person, you're going to hear something that you've been hearing for years, but hopefully it'll resonate a little bit more. You've actually got to get off the tools and run your business. Working in your business and on your business are two full-time jobs in themselves. Having staff, inspiring them and being an outstanding, inspiring, culture-led leader, that's another full-time job. So what we end up with is people with these businesses like salon and spas and most other small to medium-sized enterprises, is the technical person starts a business because they're good at what they do. Next minute, they're trying to be an accountant, a counsellor, a marketer, now a social media. I always have a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek for this one, but when you're dealing with human real estate, which is your staff, and you want them to be as good or better than you, then that's a full-time job. You've got to invest in that. You've got to make them feel amazing. You've got to lead them. You've got to inspire them. And that never finishes. It's like food and exercise. You don't create a culture, put it in a spreadsheet or in a flow document and go, oh, there's my culture, tick. It doesn't work that way. It's a daily discipline. It's like exercise and food. And people think, oh, well, I've got a great culture. I care about my people. One of the things that I learned in this journey is if you try and be the leader that you always wanted to have and lead your people that way, you can't go wrong. I mean, we've all had the manager, if you work the manager, hey, no one likes to be managed. Have you ever met anyone who likes to be managed? I haven't.
No, not really.
They love to be led. They want to be led. They want to be inspired. So how can you do that? That's going to lead us to everyone's like, well, that's all well and good, but how do you lead? How do you inspire? Number one, you've got to have people out there. You've got to have the time to do it. Digging the holes yourself, doing the hair, doing the treatments, whatever your role in that company is, being too stressed, too overworked to have an open door, to talk to people, to help them through their things, because there's always someone broke, pregnant, depressed, going through a relationship breakup, addicted to something. I've bailed people out of jail. I've done it all, because that is just the world we live in.
Yeah.
The more
Yeah.
staff you have, the more life situations are going to come into your life. They work for you, but they're also your responsibility in a lot of ways. So there's a job in itself. So dedicate yourself to being a great leader and a great inspiration to them, but also give them the reasons. And this is what, again, is something that people don't really know why they're in business. It's the why. Simon Sinek, I pronounce his name wrong, Simon. He has a really good philosophy on everyone knows what they do and everyone knows how they do it, but not a lot of people know why they do it. It's finding out your why. Why do you get up out of bed every morning? And at this time of year, it's very hard because it's dark and it's cold. And if you're like me, it's wet and damp. And as soon as this Facebook Live finishes, I've got, chem dry coming. I got flooded in the weekend. So I've got drain unblockers, electricians, you name it. We're looking here. This is smoke and mirrors. Everything behind me is falling apart. But getting back to the why, getting out of bed in the morning and dragging yourself there, if it's a chore and you're not enjoying it, you're probably burnt out because you're working on the client, you're working on the business, you're working on the culture. It's all too much. Pull yourself back from that. Think about, why did you start your business in the first place? Why are you there? And then you had a passion, you had a dream, you had a desire. Get back to that. Think of that as your why and why you're there. But also share it. Share it. It's part of your brand. It's part of who you were or who you are. And if it's been diluted over the years by being burnt out and having too many full-time jobs in your own business, sit down and actually do a bit of a session with yourself, or get in touch with me. I'll happily talk you through it. Find out, why am I actually here? Why is my business any better than anybody else's? And, a lot of people might think, oh, I'm here for the money. Well, God, go to another industry. It's a hell of a lot easier money to be made out there.
Yeah.
Money is a product of what you do. It's not why you do it. If it is why you do it, you will only be there for a short time.
Yeah.
I never focused on the money. The money always came. I've made out of this industry, I've made a really nice return in lifestyle. I've sold 2 big successful salon and spas in this industry. And it's because I created brands with why involved in it. I led my teams with a great, strong culture. I put them first. The customers felt that. I used to get letters and emails daily and weekly, people coming in going, the atmosphere in the salon today was electric.
That's so nice.
Oh, look, I tell you, it just warms your heart because it reminds you that you're actually getting it right. And those are the things that I looked at and worked on more than, hey, the money, yes, the accountant, yes, paying the tax, everything, very important. But all of that happens and you have to do it. But the most important thing, and I can't stress it enough, is culture. So people come in and they would feel that sense of continuity through everybody. I did get one letter once. This is a bit of a funny one. At Boy, the last business I had that I've just recently sold, we had a large staff room with a void, and so there was no actual sealed off ceiling. You couldn't see in there, but you could hear it. And always in this industry, there's always big personalities, and I love to encourage those. Sometimes have a bit of a big personality myself. In the lunchroom, there's always hooting and hollering and laughing and cackles, and sometimes it was louder than the music. And I remember getting a letter from a client saying she was very unhappy about the large amount of loud laughter
Oh,
coming out of the staff room. So I took that to the staff meeting and I said that I was so happy to receive this, and that if I get complaints about people laughing and enjoying
yeah,
themselves at work, then I know I'm on the right track. So I
yeah,
promptly wrote back to her, thanked her very much for bringing this up, and said that unfortunately, it's part of our culture. We encourage our staff to love what they do and enjoy coming to work.
yeah.
And maybe she might like to grace her presence at some of our competitors down the road. So it can be a little bit liberating divorcing a client. It has happened from time to time. But yeah, it's basically getting back to the essence of why you did it in the first place, and sharing that daily and weekly with your staff. If you look to the military, for an example, the military have a culture like nobody. I've read a lot about it because I'm not really a warmonger. I don't believe in war or anything like that. But I want to know how these leaders get people, well, if we go back not that long ago, people who never got paid to front up and kill themselves for a cause. You can't get any more dedicated person that will have themselves killed for free for a cause. So that is culture like you had not ever seen before. So the leaders in there were absolutely charismatic in making sure that every day those frontline soldiers, and this goes back thousands of years, they knew why they were there. They risked everything. They did everything for that cause. Hey, I'm not saying grab your team, put them in a uniform and send them into battle, but be a bit of an evangelist about your brand and your business, and share it with your staff and make them feel part of the culture. Because at the end of the day, and we've all heard this before, people will always help protect a world that they actually helped create. Dictators, dictators and managers, they come and go, and they've been throughout history as well. They never last long, and people do things under duress. If you truly inspire and lead your team with the right culture, there's no reason for them to go to the competitors. Sometimes they'll go and set up their own business, and you need to encourage that. There's enough clients for everybody. And some people want to be their own leader, and you have them for a reason and a season, not forever. One of the biggest questions that I always get asked when I go to different networking events, particularly in the industry, from people that are in business, how do you stop your staff with social media leaving you and stealing all the clients with them? And don't let your staff have their own Instagram, and don't let them post this. I completely went the opposite way. I always encouraged them to have their own presence, their own brand within my brand, and I need to treat them right and look after them so that they don't want to go somewhere else. And if they do end up going there, again, there's enough clients for everybody, and there's always a bit of a formula. A third will go with them no matter what, because they have that connection with that particular member. A third will stay with your brand because they're connected to the brand, and that's where they want to be, and they want to stay in that culture. They want to stay in that location. They want to stay with the other people that are there. And then a third are undecided. So instead of worrying about the whole big circle, focus on the third that are undecided, and just encourage your culture and keep to your why. And then you're only going to lose a small amount of people, and you'll recoup them by keeping those things and keeping inspiring people.
Yeah, I really like that as well. And like you say, you need to encourage them to leave, and they may leave, and that's okay. But I guess if you have the right culture and the right leadership, when they leave, they won't kind of be like, oh well, I'm taking all the clients with me. They'll act in a really nice way, because you've given them such a good, given them such a great job and such great experience that they'll kind of respect that they can't just take everything with them, if that makes sense.
Oh, that was a little bit of feedback. But sometimes there's bad people in the world. And I'm sorry, you can be a great leader, you can inspire, you can have great culture, but there are bad people in the world that will do that, or bad circumstances, and things will happen. But like if it was easy being in business, everyone would do it, and then people like me wouldn't be able to get ahead in life. So luckily, it's not easy, and there are you've got to be courageous to do this, and it is like this. And if you're expecting it to be like that, and then whoa, and you're gonna sail off into the sunset, and there's no luck involved in this. There's a lot of hard work, determination, and daily inspiration. You've got to be their guru. And if that's not what you are, and you just want to do your clients and you're good at what you do, don't start a business where you hire people. Just have a business where it's just you, because people need a leader. They don't need a dictator or a manager. They need an inspirational leader to motivate them, to steer them in the right direction. But one of the things that I learned too through my long journey is leadership doesn't always come from the top. Some of the leaders that you have in your organisation will come from the bottom. Like I encouraged people to feedback, and sometimes some of the juniors or apprentices will say to me, hey, I didn't like the way you spoke to me this morning. And, when you're in the meeting and you said this, that, and the other, maybe I was, one, taken out of context. Two, maybe I just had a crappy day, or I was stressed because, hey, I'm human as well. And take the feedback from that. And again, I think back to when I had a manager or a dictator, and I'm like, well, do I want to be that person? No. So I always opened that up back to myself. Not easy to do, but we're all human, and if we know why we're in a place, and we're all singing from the same hymn book, we're less likely to really want to go somewhere else, cause problems. One of the things that I encourage too, with a really strong team culture, you can interview and hire, and you can have every process under the sun, and you can still hire the wrong person. We've all done it. You don't know. You really don't know. Even after the 90 days, then boom, they put in a different mask. It's like, who the hell's that person? Anyway, the team and the culture was always so strong in my situations that I created, that it was kind of like the wolf pack would get rid of them. I wouldn't have to. They would just.
Interesting.
They would just, they didn't want that person coming in and ruining what they had. So therefore, it 9 times out of 10, it sorted itself out. It wasn't always, hardly ever do we hire the wrong person. But hey, as much as I'd like to present a perfect business, there's no such thing. One of the biggest lessons I learnt, and one of the things that saved me from continual burnout, is 80% is perfect. If my staff, the customers, everything we do, 80% of the time is really, really good, and then 10% of the time it's horrendous, and 10% of the time it's a little bit yuck, it's perfect.
Yeah.
The whole getting to 100% perfection, it's unobtainable. So if you make 80% your new perfect, share your why, or get back to why, look for your why again, beg your pardon. And just to end it on one thing that I find that we often forget, no one is that important that they shouldn't be nice. And no matter what's happening in your day and your life, no matter what horrendous things are going on, that doesn't give you license to not be nice to people. Not nice and care and inspire with a great culture, and I swear everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Philippa. I feel like this topic is huge. But I think that was such a nice introduction into it and kind of the importance and kind of the key things that you really need to start thinking about. So I think we're going to have to get you back for a few more chats. Yeah, because even just, I was even going to say to you before, well, you know, when you're hiring someone, you know, what's the most important thing to you? Is it that cultural fit? And then I thought, oh, that's just going to be, that could be an entire Facebook Live on its own. So,
and I think, yeah, and again, we could do a whole session on hiring for attitude, not skill. Unfortunately, we need skill in this industry, but in an industry that has a really shallow pool of people, you can end up, and I'm going to use a bad word here, you can end up hiring highly skilled assholes.
oh,
and I swore.
Here's some terminology for your Wednesday.
Yeah, sorry, I could have said a-hole, but yeah. Hey, I'm at home.
Oh.
I
don't think this is censored, so probably all right.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, there is a lot more to culture than this half an hour little chat and all the words that I wrote on this piece of paper here. We could go on for literally hours. But happy to answer any more questions, happy to come back again and to talk in more depth about any of those topics. So, and thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It was so nice to catch up again. We've got some really lovely comments on here as well from people. So thank you guys for watching and for tuning in and for your comments. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope to see you on our next Facebook Live, and do look out for our next one with Philippa. See you guys next time.
Look out for whatever I'm doing in the future, because at the moment I'm just floating around doing a bit of this and a bit of that. A lot of yoga, a lot of lunches, and a lot of sleep-ins. Actually, first time in my life I've had time out. So it's
so good.
How did I ever find time to run a business?
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be announcing kind of whatever Philippa's doing next, and we'll definitely have her back to share more of her experience and wisdom. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time.